Hey everyone. So over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you a rundown of how you can create generative art that's designed to fit on-chain, like what you're seeing here. So my name's Charles Machin. Some people know me as CM Gen Art, and I've been working in the Cardano space for a while, creating on-chain art. And it's a lot of fun, and it's got incredible potential that's mostly unexplored. And I'm going to be showing you how you can get into it yourselves. So what you're looking at here is some of the demos that we put together on our art platform. These are all available for you to take apart and to look at and to dissect. And yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. So the very first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to create yourself an account. To do that, you would click the icon in the corner and you'd register your email. A code will be sent to you that may turn up in your spam folder, so search for it. And you have to put that code into the editor along with setting a password, and then you should find yourself, when you log in, you should find yourself here in the example section. So first off, I'm just going to load in one of the examples, the chaos in color. Here we go. So what can we see here? So this is an interactive canvas. This is running live mathematics, live chaos maths that is drawing pixels to the screen. We can sit here and we can watch it unfold. The canvas is clickable, so we can click and we can have a look at the actual details of what this art piece is, and we can also set the resolution that it's operating in and download an image. So if we wanted to download an image of that, we can do that, and it's just saved the image out of the canvas. If we look down here, we can see that there's a console output. Not a lot in there right now, but if there was errors or if there was log statements in the actual code for here, we will be seeing them in here. Over to the left, we can see that there's a setup and there's a draw. So these are the code blocks that are actually drawing these mathematical points to the screen. So if we have a look at the setup, we can see that there's a whole bunch of code in there. I'm not going to go into what the details are, but basically this is some code that's running the chaos. And right there, that's the chaos equation that's making things move. And there's a bunch of code in the drawer as well. So basically the combination of these two fragments of code is what's drawing the result on the right. So we can see that there's another two hidden columns here. So these are hideable columns. We can hide them by clicking on them. If I hide that one, I want to show this one here, the properties. And we can see the type here is the type of canvas core. So this particular canvas has a whole bunch of functionality like these buttons, and this is the core that it's using. It's basically the library that your artwork's running in. Size is how many bytes it's used so far and how many bytes it has remaining if the art piece is going to be going on chain. So this is a Cardano on-chain limit. Of course, any art piece can exceed that value, but of course if it does, it can't be stored on chain. So let me just hide that. So next we've got the properties. So within the code blocks, there was a bunch of property syntax defined, and that appears here and allows us to customize certain things. So if we have green, if I go to blue, you can see that's a blue chaos, got a red chaos, and we've got a whole bunch of different chaos forms that can be selected on. So next is the values. So the values are, these basically get inserted into the canvas so that they appear in the places where they're meant to appear. So it's how you insert descriptions, the piece number, things like that. So how we have it set up at the moment, you load an example up and you can save it as your own project and using one of these as a base. So we're going to load up a blank square canvas. Okay, here we go. So we're in blank square canvas. As you can see, we can see the art on the right, which is currently white, and these bars on the left. Firstly, as you can see on the right, the art is interactive, so if we click on it, we can see the back. We have a refresh button here, so that when code or settings have changed, if we click refresh, it will refresh the artwork. We also have a full screen, so we can see it full screened, and if we look, here we go, that's the back for this particular canvas. Okay, so let's do something. So first, you'll notice that there are a few commented out things that we can employ. So first off, I'm going to change the wall color. Oh, I can't change anything because we're in a demo project. So first things first, I'm going to save as a new project. Here we go. So now we've got a new project. Hide these, and now I can edit. So first off, I want to change the wall color. So I'm going to go for black wall color, and I want to have a white shadow because I think that looks cool. So let's have a look at that. Here we go. So we've now got a glowing white canvas. So what are these code blocks here, and how do they relate to the artwork? So if anyone's familiar with P5.js, then this might look a little bit more familiar to you. But for anyone who hasn't, the basic rundown is you have 3 code blocks. The first code block is for functions. I mean, technically the first and second code blocks are pretty much the same, it's just this one goes first. The only reason this is separate is to give you a place to put additional functions that you may not want to be dealing with all the time in your setup code. So this is a place where you can put them out of the way. So your setup code, this is run once at the beginning when a canvas initializes, and your draw code runs continuously at 60 frames per second or whatever frames per second you set. Let's draw something. So let's draw a rectangle onto the screen. So I'm going to go to draw rectangle. I can click on that in the cheat sheet. We can see that that's the command rect, and we can put a style in XY width. We can click here to copy it, paste it in here. So for style, that can be any color string, and there are a bunch of different ways to formatting those, but I'm just going to keep it really, really simple right now, and let's just do a blue rectangle, and let's put it at 500 by 500 with a width of 100 and a height of 100. So what we're expecting is, I should start with, these canvases are all 1000 by 1000 pixels. And so we are expecting a rectangle to appear from the center of the screen, 500 by 500, and to be 100 width, 100 height. So it'll start at the center of the screen, it will go down and to the right by 100 by 100 pixels. So let's refresh that and see it. There's our blue square. So now let's make another square. Let's make a red square to the side of it. So I'm going to put it at 600 and going to make it red. And we should see another square to the right because I made it 100 units to the right. There we go. We've got our blue and our red square. So if we want something to animate, say for example if we wanted that red square to spin around the blue, we'd need to put that into our draw. So one thing to notice is the draw has a return statement in it, and you return 0 if the rendering in the draw is not completed and it's still ongoing. So that will mean that the canvas will be continuously calling this draw and rendering more. Or it returns 1 when it's completed, and when it's completed the frame is just captured and then just displayed. So this actually only gets called once because this is returning 1. So first off, if we want it to be animated, we need to return 0 because it's going to be continuous. Next, I want to move this rect call to here, to the red. So now we've got the red one being drawn in the draw and the blue one being drawn in the setup. So what's actually going on is the blue one's being drawn once at the beginning of the frame, when the canvas initializes, and the red one's being drawn again and again and again and again at 60 frames per second. But we're not seeing any movement because there's no variables that are changing. So let's make something that's changing. I'm going to put in a time value for time equals 0. And in the draw, let's advance time a little bit each frame. So I can put time equals time plus, let's say, 1. Yeah? Right now, let's a bit smaller. 0.0, 0.1. Okay, so now time is equal to itself plus that. So in JavaScript, we could do that a little easier. So we can actually go time plus equals 0.1. And of course, with on-chain art, you're constantly looking for new and improved ways to make things more and more compact. So now, because time is declared up here and set up, we can actually access it here. So anything you declare here can be accessed here. Okay, so we want to use our time value to create a bit of animation. So I'm going to go var x equals sin. I'm going to put a time in here. Var y equals cos time. So if you use cos and sin like this, you'll get a circle, but a very small one. We want something a little bit bigger because we want one of about, let's say, 300. So let's go multiply both of those values by 300. And then we just need to add them to here. So 500 plus x, 500 plus y. So now what we're expecting is the red circle, the red square to be going and doing a circle around the blue square. Let's have a look at that. There you go. Now, the reason why it's making this continuous shape is because we're actually not clearing the canvas every frame. So if we wanted to clear the canvas every frame, we'd do something like this. We put in a rect. We'd make it white. We would go from 0 by 0 to 1000 by 1000. Okay, so let's refresh that. And now we can see there's a red square doing a circle, but we can't see the blue square. The reason we can't see the blue square is because it's been drawn in setup, and every frame at the beginning we're completely clearing the screen. So it's not appearing because it's in the wrong place. So if we put the blue square drawn after the white, the full screen, suddenly we can see them both again. There you go, a little bit of information to get you started. We'll be doing more videos like this in the future. If you've got any feedback on the platform, we'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for listening.